Oh, hey guys. Welcome back to the project. Today we're tackling a really cool thing. We're going to be tearing out this entire load-bearing wall in the back of the house. Yeah, right? For everybody out there, you're thinking about doing load-bearing walls and doing some major changes, this is the video for you. We're doing two different styles. Today, like right away, we're just taking out this header. We've got our temporary support wall in place. If you want to understand all that, we'll build this knowledge base as we go through the video. We're going to do this one in case you want to change a window style and leave your exterior facade the same. So that's what we're tackling in this first part of the video. Second part of the video is we're going to be just gutting the outside. We're skinning it all open, okay? We're going to be removing windows and reframing our wall. I was looking at the structure and I'm like, I don't need to have 800 pieces of lumber in here for supporting all kinds of framing issues that don't exist. It's bad for my thermal break. So we're going to reframe the whole wall 16-inch on center and changing the facade and putting on a brand new OSB skin. That's because I can't in good conscience spray foam over all this staining and mold and everything else that's here. So we're going to rebuild the whole thing. We're going to get a walk and talk outside. We're going to show you the building technology from '74, how they built the house, so you can understand the weaknesses that are in your homes, okay? That'll be important. Last time we were here, I didn't know where my cat's paw was. So I went and had Matt go and buy me one. So this process is simple. We are basically delaminating my header. Thanks, bud. And we have this wall here. I have a stud picking up every truss. So I'm taking the weight off of this wall and I'm placing it into this section. It goes down onto the floor joist, carries that load back to the outside wall, which means there's no weight on this, okay? Which is awesome. Well, I shouldn't say weight, there's no load. There's a difference between weight and load, and that difference is this. Load is the thing that's responsible to carry the weight. Weight is something that is thrust upon something else. So if I have two studs and I have this piece up here, and someone's laying across my roof, their weight would still be on this plate, but the load goes into this, okay? Because whatever's transferring it to the foundation, that's the load carrying. And so this isn't carrying the load anymore, but it could still feel the weight of the roof. All right? And so when you're putting in a temporary wall, got a comment last time that says, well, how come you're measuring each stud individually? Why don't you just build a wall and stick it up? Because I want to be very precise with the actual dimensional measurement here, because all of our lumber in this house is dimensional lumber. And that means it can have curves and warps and bends. And every one of these studs is a different height. So we're going to mimic exactly the space so that when I cut this lumber over here, it transfers load. Okay? Here we go. Oh man, if you don't have one of these tools yet, get one. Looks like this. It's a little DeWalt tool, all right? Brilliant for pulling nails, getting in all kinds of tricky little situations. This is going to be nailed together from both sides. This is why this gets tricky. I don't think there's any nails going into this from underneath. Usually windows are installed through the sides only, so we should be okay. Now, I'm gonna set my blade here, 1.5 inches, give or take. Here we go, that's good. And I'm gonna just make this a little easier to remove here. Now, you can see we have a gap in between the tube headers here, okay? And if I try to just force one against the other, I'm pushing my facade away. So instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reach up here and I'm gonna try to pry it off of itself that way. Yeah. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I think I might still have the nails. There we go. Oh, there was one nail into the window. Imagine that. Same thing. Yeah, there are nails in here. Oh, that's gonna happen. We'll do it this way. You can see they nailed through the top plate into the header, which means they'll probably have done the same thing to the other side. This one's pretty much loosened off now, eh? I got a nail right here that's in the way. to help get advice on their structural changes. And I don't mind giving advice to structural changes, but guys, just remember, different areas have different rules. Different houses have different strengths and weaknesses and requirements. And I can't ever really give you 100% perfect advice on these issues. Oh wow, there's really nothing holding this window together anymore, is there? So I can share my experience, I can give you insider information as to a lot of the systems and processes, but you're always going to want to get a structural engineer to guarantee that your process is going to be compliant with your region. Here we go. Okay. Hopefully we don't have too much excitement going on. Look at this. You know what the problem here is, Matt? This window is not attached to the stud over here. It is actually just floating. That is crazy. So all of this, they never had the original window attached to the house. That's not helping me out very much, is it? Okay, new plan. I was going to try to show you how to change it and remove it, but that depends if they installed it right the first time. And they didn't. Okay, so in behind, we have screws. They're supposed to be 3 to 3.5 inch structural. Let me show you what they use. Okay, so that's a 2.5 inch screw. But this is the new window going into the old window jamb. The old window jamb didn't have a single nail or screw going all the way into the house. That's why it's floating. I'm gonna have no option but to remove this window. Oh, there's nothing there. That's the last fastener right there. Can I get you outside? Yeah. And you can catch this for me? Let me know. Is that working? Yeah, well, we still got a little bit of action down here. Let me see if I can pull the inside in. Okay, that'll give you more clearance. There's the nail, got it. They used a bunch of shims and then one nail right through the middle down here, buddy. There it is. Just getting rid of all the shims. So we're just going to make this a little bit easier for us to cut the old jamb. The last thing I want to do, guys, is I don't want to be cutting any, breaking any glass. That makes the job site dangerous. Okay, so what I want you to do, Matt, so I want you to take this piece and just pull it up towards you here. It'll peel off the corner. Okay. It'll give up the ghost. And there we are. All right, so now we have the ability to, should be able to pop that in. Once you pull the trim and find all the rest of those nails, there's a little bit more resistance. The more violent you are, the less we have to show everybody. Here's a premature look at outside. Oh, this is what happens, right? We got window on window. Okay. Oh, oh, oh. It just fell out. That's perfect. Okay. So what you want to do, instead of putting your shoulder on the glass, yeah, you got to carry that way. Okay, perfect. Oh, there's this nail that was in the way still. Look at that. They must have had two. Bloody, from underneath even. Yeah. Who builds like this? That's so maddening. All right. Yeah, let's just go back inside and rebuild the header like we were gonna. Oh my God. Hey, it's always an adventure, eh? What we learned, guys, is these guys are nailing from underneath the plate into the window jamb. Mind blown. But then again, when you realize back in those days they weren't using screws, it's probably easier to do that than to nail through the window frame. Now, if you got a window back in the 20s or the early 1900s, it was all through the window frame. That's kind of what I was expecting, but these guys surprised me. So, real quick, as a recap, I've got a wall gonna go up in my kitchen right here. Comes off the middle of my staircase. And this will be the front of my cabinet. This will be the back of the wall. That's the thickness of the wall. And then I've got, in my bedroom, I've got a wall of cabinetry going here for a closet. So from this point to the outside, that's the number that I need. And that is 160 inches. And half of that is 80. And I had that written on the glass, but this is gone now, so I'll just use the plate. Half of 160 is 80 inches. There we are. So that is my center line of the room, officially from my bedroom, from cabinet to wall. And I want to put in about an 8-foot window. And so that's 48. Now, I'm only a half an inch off from my measurement. And so if I keep this intact right here, what I get is I get a place for my header to start, and then I'm going to double up the 2x4 here to take it to actual 3 inches. So that'll be ideal. All right, so I'm just going to leave these two pieces intact, and then we'll work from this location. I'll be so close to perfect on this, it won't even be funny. My designer will be happy that I got almost perfectly center, and a half an inch one way or the other in a 12-foot room, who cares, right? Okay, so next for me is to remove the rest of this header. Yeah, well, hopefully it doesn't fight too much now that there's no window there, right? Like I imagine, we should be able to just lift it off of the skin here. All right, here we go. And then from the end. There you go. That should be all you. There we go. Okay, so our goal here is now to remove this plate out of the way and this little half stud. Cut and measure a stud to the same height here. Build our header. Get rid of all the nails sticking out of the top, because these are a problem, they're in the way. Now, this is just brute force again. Oh, one of the biggest mistakes they made in these old houses is they put the sills in. They cut level and put the sill in level. And there's no waterproofing on this. And you'll see in the next window it gets even worse than this, but any water that gets in behind, and it will, comes down and sits on the sill and it stays soaking wet. If you cut a 2-degree slope on your studs that are holding these sills, then you put your sill on and it's on an angle and it sheds the water back out again. That's the way I like to do it anyway. Oh wow. This is rotten. Remember, all of this can be done because that wall's carrying the load. Like, look at this vibration on here. That's carrying the whole bloody roof. So my stud is what we call a jack stud. Help jack it up. 83 and a 1/16. Now, we're going to clean the plate, get rid of the old nails. This thing is just in the bloody way. You try to use the safety equipment, but there we go. What I'm going to use is that laser level to transfer my line. I had you make that header 8 foot 3 inches, correct? Yep. Oh, come on, honey. Don't fight with me now. Well, here. Okay. Structural lesson 101. We have 2x10s. Okay? 2x10s are the same structural dimension as floor joists in your house. Some houses have got them shorter at 2x8, but 2x10s, when doubled up, act as a structural load transfer member on any residential property for anything except a ridge beam in a house carrying the entire weight of the roof in a snow load. So this is always a safe bet. You never have to worry about qualifying or passing code or having issues. If you go to 2x8, over time you can end up with sags. Okay, don't do it. 2x10 and you're good to go. You're putting it in a 2x4 wall, you need 3.5 inches of total material. Okay? You can go 1/2 inch plywood. A lot of the world does. I've seen the older you go, they weren't worried about their thermal issues, and because energy was so cheap back in the old days, they'd put a piece of 1/2 inch plywood here, a piece here, and a piece at the end, nail it all together, and it had a gap, and they would actually run wiring down that gap, right? It was so handy. In today's environment, we are looking for thermal break, okay? So we want our beam to be looking something more like this. This is what we're looking for. Okay, oh, and if I could get the slide the same length, that'd be really awesome. So what we want is a 2x10 1/2 inch rigid foam 2x10, because this stuff comes R3, which is the same insulative value of the window. So you're not going to be creating a draft above your window when you make this header. If you just use plywood, plywood has an R value of only, I believe it is R.5 per every 1/2 inch or something like that. So you're getting a much better quality build this way. And it doesn't compress that much. Now, it might seem like a lot of nails. Each side, stagger them, okay? We have construction expectations nowadays. Whenever you're doing something structural, you need a nail for every 2 inches of lumber. It's called the 2x10, which means you need 5. You want them every 16 inches. So you start here, and you go 16 inches all the way across, you go on the back side, plus 2 inches, and then you go 16 inches all the way across. And then when he's done, we can cut the foam off and we can stick it in. All right. Wow. Yeah. What we're looking at here is an actual beam. Right on. Dude, let's get 2 pieces of lumber cut 83 1/4. And just for the record, if you're not familiar with this, they actually make lumber 92 5/8. 92 5/8 stud is exactly the same as a plate plus stud plus 2 plates in most house construction, okay? They actually deliver to the house 92 5/8 because that's what this dimension is, to fit in between a single and a double. And so if you're looking to do some work in your house and you want to save yourself a lot of work and you're going to change some studs out, buy them cut to the same size you're going to need before you even get going. And you don't have to worry about being perfect with the saw because it comes perfect from the mill, exactly the height that you want. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that measurement, and we have the luxury of having time on this project. So once we're done framing this space, I'm going to then take my measurement to order my window so I have a nice gap around it. And then in 6 to 8 weeks when the window comes in, we'll be able to come back and install the new window, okay? But for today, we're just going to get this installed, and then we'll peel the outside, change all the other old studs up, put in our new window header. This will be really good. Reframe it, and then we're going to peel the rest of this out. Pop the windows, take the rest of the wall off. We're going to take you on a tour outside, talk about the water damage, where it's coming in, what are the weak spots. You're going to understand your own home a little better. Had a lot of people over the years ask me, can I paint my aluminum siding? And the answer is yes. But understand that behind your aluminum siding, well, it's going to look a lot like this. Look at this. This is all black mold, it's rot. Even the original frame is moldy. The aluminum siding situation does not come with waterproofing on the house, okay? The caulking on the siding is the waterproofing. And so if you don't have caulking that's in fantastic shape, your house looks like this. And maybe, just maybe, painting it isn't good enough. All right, now I need a 92 5/8. Does this all fit in here? Yeah, it does. All right, so this one is going to be a full stud. Now when you're making something flush, hit both pieces of material together. Then you won't drive one past the other, okay? Now we're good. There, that's working. All right, and so you're going to throw this on. I'm going to just throw in a couple of nails here to make this permanent. Okay, so what we're doing is we're dropping a laser level. Simple little tool. The idea is the laser level comes down, and I'll be able to pick up my location exact down here. And I'm just going to mark where that goes. Okay, and then we're going to come in and nail it in. All right. Okay, now we've got 2 jack studs here, okay? And because we're doing a header, we're gonna find that it's easier to leave those alone until we get there. And then we can just nail them in one at a time to add the support. All I wanna do now is just pry this out of the way. And here's all the nails from the siding job. That's amazing. All right, well, we're ready here, bud. Let's throw our header in. I'll get you over here. And I'm gonna just bring a drill up there with me. You're gonna find it's gonna be easier if we just take a couple of those 3-inch screws on a 45-degree angle and just pull it up into the top plate. It'll close the gap and it'll hold the weight. Here we go. Now, does this thing have a crown? Does this thing have a crown? No? Good, that makes it easier. If there is, put the crown up in the middle. And so we put one side in, and then we can force the other side up. And it'll bend the top plate, move the house, and all that kind of fun stuff. But if it has a warp, you want the warp up, because it'll settle down over time. All right, here we go. All right, I'm gonna put my side in first. Lift it up nice and tight.
We are 1/4 inch long.
Are we? Okay.
I can hammer the stud over.
That's exactly what you're gonna do. I'm gonna hold this, you're gonna hammer that. Oh, that's okay, I got it.
Just watch your face.
Yep. There, that's it. Nails bend. And the exact location doesn't matter as much as getting it in snug. We're good? There, now, one side at a time. I'm gonna go a few inches back, okay? A couple inches down, reverse. Sorry, burn my angle here. And now I'm gonna drive forward, straight up into the plate and close my gap. That's not going anywhere, okay?
So we have a bowed top plate here.
We certainly do. I think this one sunk down over time, okay? So we'll do the same thing here. This little screw isn't gonna be the solution to the problem. It'll help. All right, now the only thing we're gonna run into here is these nails in the wall are gonna keep us from pushing our board in properly, okay? So when we're running our jack post, we wanna start about halfway in. So we're gonna just beat it into submission.
Easier from hit it from the bottom or have the bottom in it?
Definitely easier to hit from the bottom,
really?
Okay? Yep, see, we got no obstructions, and then it'll jack it up. That's why it's called the jack post. How's that gap doing? Almost gone?
Yep. Sweet.
And almost mazel tov. I'm actually not perfect here. That's gonna be a pain in the butt. So the way we're gonna fix that problem, because I want it on an angle, grab another one of these screws. I wanna pull this out. Okay, maybe a little bit backwards. There we go. All right, Matt, so we got two things we wanna do. One is we wanna hammer this in, right? Yep. And one, I wanna pull this out. Okay. All right, so we wanna kind of do both of them simultaneously. All right, so I'm gonna hold this in place while you hammer that one in. Okay, hold on. I'm good with this location. Let's nail these two in from the inside, and then we'll bring the next jack in after that. Good, nice. All right, now, I'm gonna have you nail from here as well. Yeah. Okay, once we get the top where we want it, and we can use the same technique. Is that nice and flush? And wait, I'm gonna borrow that screw again. You're working with wood and nothing's ever straight. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna go tighter so I can get myself some leverage. And I'm just gonna put it that way. Give her. All the way up. 1, 2, 3, 5.
Just splitting.
All we gotta do now is remember that this piece here, Matt, is to keep this thing from rolling.
Right.
This one's carrying the load.
Okay.
Now this one's gonna go in here to do the same thing. help carry the load. And it'll be exactly the same problem all over again. Although it won't be as dramatic because now it's lifted up. Okay, so you can just tack that in and then you can double tap that all the way up. Okay, yeah. This is in the way. If you're not forcing it in play, it's not picking up any load. There we go. To the face, and then let's see if we can grab a couple going that way. All right, guys. I want to drive a couple of the structural screws for this one on that.
Okay. You want to give it a shot on that?
Yeah, sure. I'll throw a few in for now. But there is a bit of a gap here. And I'm vertically challenged. All right. There we go. Now, we got a design element here. I really want a 4 foot tall window. Okay? And that takes me all the way down to here. No. Okay? So it's gonna be lower than before. And I don't think I have a problem with that height. That'll be gorgeous. I'll be lying in bed, looking out the window. Ah, beautiful backyard. So here we go. 4 feet. Bam. Here's my height. Here's my height. Now, whenever you're marking something, get your eyes to the location of the mark. So if I'm marking 4 feet standing up, I missed it, guaranteed. You can't look at something on an angle and get the right mark. Got to get your butt down here, all right? So that's one of the reasons I had to lose some weight. I've stopped being able to measure things. All right, here we go. Beautiful. All right, Matt, we're gonna cut the plate. We're gonna take measurements for all of our studs, okay? If that's my finished height, then my studs need to be, we're gonna just create a little extra gap for our window. We'll go 34.5, so we got a quarter top and bottom. 34.5 means 33 for my studs. And I want you to change the saw to 2 degrees.
Okay.
So 33 on the long side.
Okay.
Okay? And I'm gonna need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Because of all of the materials we have here and all the nails sticking through, it probably makes sense for us, before we reframe this, to go outside and skin the rest of the house. All right, and then we can talk to the folks there about all the weaknesses in this house and all the things that we found that are about, like, not bad practice, but they were the general practice back in the 70s before building code. Remember, in Ontario, we didn't even have a building code until 75. So a lot of this was done old school. So let's go take a look, see what we can find out. First thing I want you to see is we experienced this. This tar paper here, this is the weatherproofing of the house, okay? And you'll see that the last foot was installed at the very end, and it does 2 things. It creates a water diversion system, but it also does this. It exposes all of your 16 on center lines, okay? This is a Johns Manville exterior house board back in the day, and it's basically cardboard, right? Like, that's all we're dealing with, just cardboard. Yeah, that's nuts, huh? All right, so what we've got is a house that's got cardboard, covered by paper, covered in tar. That's great. And then we've got the aluminum siding, okay? Now, the aluminum siding has got more cardboard in behind it. And it probably acts a little bit like an insulator, but really all it does is collect bugs, and it traps moisture in the wall. Look at this. This is in the middle of the wall. It doesn't have a problem near the window. It's in the middle of the wall. Because during these storms that would come from the east, the wind is driving, and the siding is opening and closing, and the wind is driving rain in behind it. It's just the fact, okay? These locks aren't sealed airtight. They're not even watertight. So when you get a wind-driven rain, this is the kind of damage you get. Now, on the inside of that wall, you don't see any of this damage here, okay? But you know what's happening. That's why when people say, should I paint? Understand, yes, paint's not a problem. Like, this house is in decent shape. Look at the rest of this. The aluminum siding holds up, right? If you treat this properly and paint it, you probably get another 50 years out of it. But if you know this is going on behind your wall, what point does this fail? And when are you developing mold in your walls? And is that worth it? For me, we're gonna skin all of this off. We're gonna change the facade in this home. We're probably gonna go to cement fiberboard. Love to hear your comments about that. Maybe a James Hardie product. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this off, and it's just a few nails, okay? And then a caulking joint. There's that caulking joint. Yep, that's caulking for you. All right. And we're gonna collect all of our aluminum down here. We're gonna take it to the recycler. But I want you to show this. Here we go. There's one thin little bit of caulking bead here. One little bead, okay? It's not engaged. So depending on this, if it's cut a little bit short, water gets in behind it, guaranteed. So there's no caulking on this. Unbelievable. And so they aren't consistent with their caulking and their waterproofing measures. And now we'll show you this. So you got caulking, the water gets in behind, it hits this stuff, no tape, it's just overlapped with the window flange. Any water that gets blown in here, it's gonna work its way in behind all of this and ultimately end up in here, all right? This is what we found. So out here, everything looks fine. You see this little gap? That siding was nailed in the wrong spot. So it's sitting proud. And you're relying on nothing but caulking. Come take a look. Look at the mold here. Look at once the water finds a way in, look, it just keeps traveling down. It's getting ugly, ugly, ugly. We got heat in these boxes from the aluminum wiring. All this moisture is just leading to rot. And if the outside of your house looks good, just like mine does, and you want to paint, this is what's inside. And when you got that much moisture, you're getting ice. And when you get ice, that means it's melting into your insulation. Bad insulation gets wet, it compresses, and it starts to sag out of there. And then you get holes in the top, which is probably what happened here. And then when you got a hole up top, then the winter comes, this becomes nothing but frost. And the cycle perpetuates, it gets worse and worse and worse to the point where the drywall itself starts to get so wet that you start having mold coming into the house, sporing, and then it's over, right? Anyway, so our plan here today is to remove all that so we don't have to deal with that mess. And then we're gonna seal everything up properly down the road. But again, take a look at this. Look at the gap here. You can see daylight. You can literally see daylight through some of these gaps. They're relying on the caulking only. That's the only defense that they've got. Now, it's gonna be beneficial. It'll still have a certain percentage of effectiveness, but you gotta maintain it. So if you have an older house, for the love of God, hire yourself a handyman and have them go around and recaulk all your windows. Come check this out. Because this is how they install it. I pulled this siding off. It was above the second window. And what they did is they snipped the siding, they bent it over to create a drip edge. Okay, and all they do is they score it with a knife and bend it over. That's it, okay? And look how easy this disengages in the wind. Huh? No caulking there. So above all those windows, all that is a cut piece of siding, and they're relying on that to never break off in the wind. Your house could be next, all right? So if we understand the building technology is relying on caulking only, and we understand that even in areas where you have the tar paper, the water's being driven in behind during the storm, this house makes sense to me now. Come on inside and I'll show you why. This wall here is nice and dry. No problem with it. Except way up in the corner, there's a little water damage because that's where the chimney is. And again, it's relying on a sealant, a caulking, okay? The wall over there, the west wall, it's all brick on the outside, so we don't have the same infiltration. So even though that wall and the wall on the other end over here get all the storms, this wall has no windows. And this wall is perfectly dry. Like there's barely any water stains at all over here. But this wall, because of the windows, there's penetrations, the door, even though it's the east side of the building, and we only get storms from the east once or twice a year, all that damage is from the side of this building that hardly even sees any weather. Unbelievable. If this house was built on the other side of the street, then this orientation would be on the west side. This would have been nothing but black mold. I'm just saying. All right? So we got lucky. Maybe you'll get lucky too, but if you have an old house, consider windows are penetrations that are not sealed up against moisture. Are they taking the brunt of the weather? you already know the inside of your wall is going to look like garbage. This is all part of the same piece. All right, here we go. Way to go put 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nails in there. Woo! Okay. That's just not fair. Now, our goal is to get 8 feet from the top, because that's the skin. We're going to put a new skin on, and the OSB sheet comes in 4x8. So we're going to take this sheet, measure down here. It's this plus this one. 8 feet is somewhere in the middle. And our house wrap that we bought is a 10-foot roll. So it'll actually go all the way to the top and extend past the bottom here. We can tape it on, seal it on, make sure that we're good to go until we're ready to do our new facade. The new facade might not come most likely until next spring. So this is just all about getting us prepped for success, getting us weatherproof for the winter. That's the last row right here. All right. Oh, I gotta get all of my nails here. Can't leave one. Come on, honey. Got one more little. So we're gonna pop these windows, do some sheathing. All right, here. Let's get flush to the old sheathing. That's actually really nice. Right up to that double, right up to those. Yeah, let's just close that off. How are we looking here? You know what, come down a ½ an inch. I wanna be, and then are we on tight to the side, to the left? Yep. Okay. Okay, thank you. So what I did is I marked on the plate down here where my studs are. And that'll help. Hopefully I'll be able to hit most of the studs most of the time. That is an amazing gun, Matt. I'm really loving this toy. Let's see how my aim is. Now we just got to keep cleaning up as we go. Shoving in these sheets. Right. All right. You stole my ladder. All right, dude. Here, let's get this window together. This gives me a problem here. There you go. Open that like a door. All the way. There we are. Brilliant. You just got a nail on that flange. There you go, bud. All right, now, this is where we get to have a little bit of fun, because we are basically leaving one window. This is going to be wall in my kitchen, behind cabinets now. The next window over is going to be wall above the stove. We're going to be relying on the skylights in this new kitchen to bring us our daylight, plus our lighting package. So all we want here now, Matt, instead of cleaning all the nails, we're just going to decide which studs we're keeping. So we want to go 16 on center. And the easiest way to do that is take it from the first stud that was and measure here. Oh, come check this out straight on, Joe. My tape shows red squares where the beginning of the 16 on center is. So I'm only ½ an inch out here over that, which is fine. And so I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to put one here. So this double is gone. This is gone. I'm going to keep this stud if I can. So I'm just going to cut through here and peel this off, drop the header. Everything else is, all of this from here to this stud is gone. Okay? Oh, guess what I forgot?
What'd you forget?
We didn't put a temporary wall in yet. We're going to leave that blade there as part of our structure. Okay, so before we go tearing out a wall with a header, let's be smart and actually put up our temporary wall. So this stud stays, this stud stays, but I need to pick up here. I need to pick up that one. All right, now the rules of engagement for temporary walls. Generally 24 inches from where you're working. And that's going to pick up that one just fine. If I can just get you to throw 2 nails in this plate mat, so it's not moving around on us. Okay, now I'm throwing this laser line. Can you throw a hand down there for me so I can see its reflection? Just give me a backdrop. That's close enough, okay? We're going to throw a top plate on. Now, I'm going to hold this up here. Just one. And then, there we go.
We're not picking up.
That's fine. And then put one in here as well, because we want to get rid of the deflection in that. Good. You can kill the laser now. Going to be grabbing some 8-foot lumber here. All right, and what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to just take measurements corresponding with where the trusses are, so that the load from the roof that's in this 2x4, we transfer it in a 2x4 that goes down to the ground, to the floor package, and then back to the outside wall. All right? So I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to just write the number on there for you. Is that what you're thinking? Okay, and we're going to go 94 and an eighth. Number 2 is 94 even. This one's 94. I'm going to ask for an eighth as well. There's a gap. And then this one's 94 even. And that'll pick up this truss. This one isn't far enough to get to this truss. Their measurements are a little off. So the last, and that's fine, because I'm pretty sure, Matt, that this is the regular, this is regular, this is regular. We don't even have to pick that load up, because I'm not taking these out. So only cut the first 3 if you don't mind. All right, so what we're doing is we're moving the structural load of the header and the points for this truss into this corner, this truss into this point, this truss into this location, and this truss is sitting on top of structural lumber. That's structural lumber. These 2 won't be moving. Okay, so we just got to pick up these 3. Nice and simple. In the meantime, while he's cutting, this is not load bearing. This is not working. This will be replaced. That is all structural until we build the wall. Two nails in the top so it doesn't bump over. One in the bottom so gravity does a lot of the work. This is racking. 2 nails, 2 nails, 2 nails. Now this temporary structure can't go like this either because those screws are like racking, okay? Now we're good. This is garbage. Now all that vibration is because even though right now it's not load bearing, it's still carrying load. It's really splitting this 50-50. All right. Yep, that was the secret to success. There we go. Okay, there we go. And you know we did it right because the house didn't fall down. There we go. Now our system up until here is to lose the nails with the grinder, grind the nails, pull the face, clean it up. Let's get our sheathing on and then add all the rest of our studs. We're at that point where we're going to put another few pieces of sheathing on. And I think for today, because of the time, instead of making sure all the nails go in, we'll probably just tack it in conveniently, get our weatherproofing on, and then come back inside and then finish framing up all the rest of this. We'll just go, I'm just gonna use my foot here. You can lift it. Okay, and we'll go flush up those lines a little bit. This closes up pretty darn quick, eh? And up we go, onto the toe, to the right.
I got it.
Good. Now we're just creating a stud bay now to pick up all of these extra boards every 16 inches, give or take. And for everybody who's ever wondered why there's a double plate up here, it's because the truss is going at 24, the wall is going at 16, so they don't always line up. So the double plate is necessary to transfer the load into the trusses, or into the studs that don't align with the trusses. That's all it is. It also helps tie the house together. So I'm just going to measure off. 16. And then, come on, honey. 16. I'm actually marking off with the lines that the carpenter put in there originally. Secure our studs. Now can you push the top right corner? Come on, baby. Now this stud is skinned off. It's been rolled over, right? It comes off the bark. So somebody asked why we're doing vertical instead of horizontal. And that's because I need 12 feet of sheathing. At some point, I'm going to go horizontal. I can do that on my last row beneath this later in the day. Once we're ready to do the rest of the job, I'm just going to give Matt a hand, help him get this house closed up. Here we go. So we got a 10-foot roll. We got an 8-foot piece of sheathing. We're going to go extend past it. This will act like a water diversion layer. Okay. There you go. So, whoa, 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 whoa. I got it. You stand still. That's tricky.
Okay.
Yeah, just stand it up. Put it on the ground.
Okay.
Okay. Go back to the corner of the house. All right. Yeah, that's it. That's the cut line. Okay? So now you can go horizontal with it. Go horizontal with it. Okay, and cut it off. And my fingers are underneath as well. So like go a couple inches shy so I don't lose my fingers. Thank you. Step on it to stretch it. If you don't create compression, it won't cut. These house wraps are not designed to cut easy with the dull blade, that's for sure. Beautiful. Now, coming all the way down. Just like vapor barrier, Matt. Now I need enough that it goes up to the top and maybe an extra inch or so, right? That's it. Okay. Nice and tight. Okay. That's really all we got to do. And then we'll come back here. I got a stud here. Got sheathing here. And this is just to get started, right? Now, let's get it up and over. All this other stuff. There we are. So now we're gonna take the cap nails, okay? I'm gonna find my wood. Here's a cap nail. And that plastic held by the nail is actually going to defend against the wind. And as long as we don't open up the windows inside the house, we'll be okay, generally speaking. Okay, let's just get some cap nails on here. Hold this thing in place. And then we can worry about sealing up the rest of the edges. Now, building code actually requires the use of cap nails on Tyvek, especially for their warranty. Here's the deal. Every one of these little red dots, you should have a fastener. And the reason for that is so that these things can last like a whole year until you get your facade on. All right. Now, for the purpose of today, I'm not looking to get a whole year's worth of warranty. I just need to get out of the rain. So that's good enough for me and the girls I go out with. I'm going to show you what about wrapping this thing up is like. Okay, and then Matt can finish this all off for me. Because Matt loves to do my work for me. We're gonna try to create, I got a separation here. All right. Should be able to get that behind the downspout and around the other side.
Said in the comments that we missed the glue.
We missed what?
The glue.
The glue. Oh yeah. They expected me to glue that on as well? You know, there's a difference between good building practice and best practices. All right. Here's what I got to say about the glue. I'm using spray foam. I'm gonna get all the airlock that I need with my spray foam. I don't need to add extra work by padding and adhesive. If this house lasted 50 years, nailing on some aluminum siding and cardboard, then I'm gonna get 50 years out of this facade, no problem at all. Man, they really got that on tight. Bloody. There we go. Try to get that freed up. So I don't need to worry about what is the most extreme method of building known to mankind. Okay, I'm renovating an old pig, trying to bring it up past building code, not trying to flex and show off about how amazing the building science is and try to make everybody feel bad because they're not doing things that are only done on $100 million mansions. I'm trying to be reasonable and practical. And yeah, there are better ways to do just about anything that I do. But when I'm building, unless I'm building Taj Mahal, I'm gonna treat it like a house. And that's something that needs to get a return on investment. Okay? So that's the way that I build. Looking for a return on my investment. And if that bothers some folks, that's okay, be bothered. Not worried about it. Hey, you got my tape? Oh, I got my tape. So here we go. Now, I don't mean to act like I'm offended or anything. I'm just saying. I know how builders are. Every contractor I've ever known could go into anybody else's job and just tear their quality of work apart, huh? It's so easy, isn't it? Because there's so many different levels of quality that are out there. So before you judge how I build, consider this. My goal is to make my forever home. I'm not gonna last another 50 years. Why should my house? I'm just joking. We're gonna build it above code, but I'm not worried about building it extreme. Trying to become best practices. I'm not looking for a Renovator of the Year award on my house build. Just trying to get her done. All right, we can get this around the corner and then sealed up to the existing house. Then it'll be a much stronger house wrap and be able to withstand weather all 4 of my seasons. All right, well, let's just go down here. I'm gonna grab my bench, start finishing off, closing up the top, and I'll show you what I wanna do there. Now, one thing that I just can't deal with, it's bothering me, so I'm not getting low enough to actually cover over. Yeah, I'm not getting low enough here. That's just not cool. That's okay. I'm gonna fix that right now. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix it. Go. Darn, I've left my hammer down there. Okay. Now, if that is my new height, coming down here. Wow. Yeah. We're definitely creating an issue for ourselves. Hold on the bench. Hold this tight again. Don't worry about lifting it. Let it hang. You see how the angle is the problem? So that's where I want to be, right there. And it's easier for you to pull it and fold it at the other end. Okay? All right. Yeah, let's do that. I'll just come run down and then we'll cap it up in a second. This will tack us up until we get where we want to go.
On the red squares.
I'm not really too concerned about it for today. Yeah, like there should be like 4 rows of fasteners. Okay. But every red square really isn't necessary. This is still a little bit temporary. We just got to get ready for the rain here, bud. I don't expect hurricane force winds tonight, so. All right, we'll get the top in.
Should we start in the middle and then work our way out?
No, I'm fine. I want to get the top nailed in real good. I want to stretch the bottom down. We should be fine now. Right? At the end of the day, having this all stretched out real sexy like is nice, but not entirely necessary. Let's do that. Well, we're almost there. There we go. I think if we were just to get along the bottom row here and put some caps near the bottom of the sheathing, we're good for tonight. I'd be happy just to get the cap nails on. We can always come back tomorrow and button it up for a bigger storm. This is not a hurricane season or tornado season here. It's just a good old-fashioned little bit of thunder and lightning, a little bit of rain. We don't want to be out here with a camera. The air conditioning unit is right underneath the deck here, and it's just blowing air like a mother. Well, that's too bad. We didn't get quite as far as I was hoping today. I was really hoping to get the whole wall open, but hey, what do you do, huh? Life isn't perfect. Okay. That's window, that's window, that's window. That's window frame.
Okay. How did you want to finish what is this, Tyvek?
Yeah.
House wrap?
Yeah.
Just tape it to the siding?
Tape it on.
Just tape it.
Nothing wrong with that. And however awkward it is, just get it done. I'm just gonna kind of close this up a bit here, Matt. Give me a little bit of flexibility. There we go. Oh, that's better than it was, that's for sure. Okay.
That's considered done.
Yeah.
Okay,
Run a second line though. Okay. Of tape on tape. See, you're catching down here, but not there. If you go a little slower and try to press it in and get a bigger seal, go one piece of siding at a time, you're gonna find that a lot more effective. There you go. Perfect. Thanks, bud. I think that's it for us today, guys. We're exhausted. It's hot, it's humid, it's sticky. The house is closed up. The team is ready to go and party. I'm just joking. We're tearing out all the walls in the basement, lifting the subfloor. We're looking for all the weaknesses. We're gonna understand this house so much better. We're gonna see if they built the structure right, and then we're gonna bust open the concrete because we're moving our bathroom to a new location. We're gonna show you all of that ins and outs, and then we're gonna follow that up with a visit from my favorite plumber, Mark from Horizon, and he's gonna do videos with us on this channel showing you how to do a rough-in under your slab for your new bathroom. We're really excited about this channel. We're really excited about this house. We're excited to be able to help you guys out with your next project. So make sure you are there. Cheers to everybody. Thanks for helping support our channel. Cheers till next time.